If you take a step outside, you're likely to get blown over. It was crazy today.
Yeah, it was still windy today. The past couple of days were even more windy. In fact, that wind's going to be ramping up as we get into the weekend. Yes, yes. Okay. It's going to be a lot more windy than today, that's for sure. In fact, you know, tonight, later this evening, that wind's going to be relaxing quite a bit. In fact, it's going to get so light by tomorrow morning in parts of the state that we will see temperatures drop to right around the freezing mark. So we've got that freeze warning all across northern and eastern Oklahoma. Notice that does not include Oklahoma County. I still think we do get down into the middle 30s, but not quite that freezing mark here. We still have some fires that are ongoing across parts of northeastern, north central Oklahoma. A couple of those showing up in northeast Kay County. But as time passes on, it looks like they are at least getting somewhat of a handle on it. They're really starting to fade out quite a bit, but still a few of those in parts of far eastern Oklahoma. Outside of that, it's been cool and windy today. This is our OCCC camera, part of our Pike Pass Skycam network. 61 degrees, a sustained wind out of the north-northwest at 22. Wind gusts right now up to 28. Even the camera is shaking a little bit. A northwest wind between 20 to as much as around 30 to at times close to 35 miles an hour. Now that wind's starting to relax a little bit more. Temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s across much of the state, but we still have some upper 60s in southwest Oklahoma. So the big picture showing the trough that was responsible for all the wind that we've been experiencing lately, that is now moving farther east away from us. In the meantime, we have another storm system moving on to the west coast, and that's going to start to help to ramp that wind back up as we get into the weekend. Now, we're actually going to skip all the way to Sunday. Now, Sunday, we have a slight chance of rain and storms, but we've been talking a lot about what we could potentially see Monday, Tuesday, and possibly even to Wednesday. That is when we do have the highest threat of seeing some severe weather in parts of the state. Now, on Monday, it does look like most of that threat will actually be in far southeast Oklahoma. Now, that will include some of our viewing area, but nonetheless, Oklahoma City not officially in that right now. We're still going to have a jet stream overhead. We're still going to have instability, but most of that instability will be just to the south and east. Things change, though, as we get into Tuesday. That dry line backs up to western Oklahoma. We're going to have a little bit more moisture to work with, so higher instability even in central and eastern Oklahoma. Now we're expecting some scattered storms, and some of those could become severe. Now, Tuesday night into Wednesday, we're going to see a push of that dry line into central Oklahoma, and everything west of that dry line, it's going to be very quiet. But along and east of I-35, there's still going to be a threat for some severe storms, a moderate threat in far eastern Oklahoma. But as of right now, it's looking like by Wednesday afternoon, we're completely out of it and things look nice and dry. Tonight, though, temperatures drop down to about 35 degrees in Oklahoma City, the low 30s across the north, though, but about 30 degrees in Ponca City, 32 in Clinton, the low 40s across the far south, about 35 degrees in Guthrie, 36 in Jones, 33, though, in Piedmont, and 34 by tomorrow morning in Minco. By tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be warm and windy again. We're going to have a south wind between 20 to 35 miles an hour, high of 80 degrees, but temperatures get real close to 90 in the far western half of the state. So that is where we will have that extreme fire threat, but we still have a moderate to high fire threat even in the metro. Now, on Sunday, out ahead of a cold front, we do have a southwest wind. It's going to be really warm. It's going to be really dry and windy, so the fire threat will still be high that day. In fact, this cold front, it's not going to move completely through. It's going to stay just to the north and west. With that being said, we're going to have that high fire threat in the metro. That extreme threat actually moves into at least far eastern Canadian County. With this cold front moving in, there will be a chance of rain and storms in central and northeast Oklahoma. Overall, the chances look pretty low for Oklahoma City. I've got a 10% chance at best. The dry line will be there, but it's not a classic setup at this point. There will be a low threat that if these storms do develop, that they could go low and severe. But by Monday, temperatures about 80 degrees. We've got 70s across the north, a mixture of 60s and 70s across the west, but still holding on to the 80s across the far southern half of the state. So tonight, we're going to keep our skies nice and clear. By 9 o'clock, dropping down to 51 degrees and that northwest wind between 5 to 15. By 10 o'clock, we're dropping down into the upper 40s, and that wind's going to be pretty light. But by tomorrow morning, we're going to be down into the middle 30s, so it's going to get really cold, but it's not going to stay that way. In fact, it looks kind of hot by the end of the weekend. Temperatures climbing into the middle 80s. Not done with the middle 80s yet. By Tuesday, high of 84 degrees, and that is the day we're watching for some more severe storms that will include the metro. Everything looks pretty quiet, though, after we get past Wednesday.